Okay, getting into this Switch Lite review. If you enjoy it, give it a like, leave a comment. If you didn't enjoy it, leave a dislike, but tell me why. So, I'm going to break it down into these parts: battery life, comfort, my choice of games, how it runs, how I use it, why I bought it, and then just a couple other things about certain games that I had and the ones that I played the most. So, the battery life, it was good. It was enough for, like, if I went to school and then I had to go to work, it had enough battery life that I could also play at lunch. You know, if I had to work late, I could still spend a little time if I was waiting on a project or something from someone. So that was good. The comfort was good. If you're sitting at a desk, it's a lot easier to play than if you're sitting in your bed. It makes it kind of difficult to sit and prop up. Similar problem that the DS Lite had. It was just so small. So going from that, the games that you had the choice of on this were far superior to any other Nintendo handheld I have ever used before. I mean, just think about it. It's a handheld that can also play the full console versions. Yeah, I mean, they had crossovers back with the GameCube where you could plug your Game Boy Advance or your Game Boy into the GameCube to trade Pokemon or play with yourself, where you could trade Pokemon and trade with yourself on the game to make it easier, or they had certain Pokemon on certain games you couldn't trade from, things like that. It made it enjoyable, added another level of complexity. But the lack of the motion sensitivity, like when you're trying to solve some puzzles on Breath of the Wild and you got to flip the thing all the way over on its back or something and you can't see what you're doing, it makes it kind of annoying. I'd show some footage, but I sold that game a while ago after I finished it. How I use it in my life is, say I have 15 to 30 minutes worth of time that I just need to kill, like in between me coming back from my lunch break to when I start working again. That's where it really shines in the aspect of I can go do a couple of raid battles on Pokemon, or I can do a couple of dungeons on Moonlighter, or I can run a couple of different options on some other games. It definitely helps with that aspect. Now, I purchased this. I actually put in a pre-order as soon as I heard about the Switch Lite. I went up to GameStop and I said, put my name down for a yellow one. And I was really glad to hear that they went this route, because I was actually going to go buy a full-fledged Switch the week before, but I was kind of putting it off just because I didn't want to spend $300 all at once. Poor college student life. So going to why I got it was really for the Mario, the Pokemon. Of course, the first real Pokemon, with air quotes, they released was Sword and Shield, which was after the Switch Lite released. So, I don't know. But I really purchased it to play certain specific games, and I got into the mentality of buying it before I heard about the Microsoft, what was that? The game streaming, where you could either stream from your Xbox or stream over the internet from a server that they have on their side. But I got into that for free. It was good. It was really good. But it didn't have the same effect as the Switch Lite. So I still went through the purchase with that, with the Switch Lite, even after that came out. I have a computer. I have an Xbox. I bought an Elite controller. I spend most of my time playing first-person shooters on the Xbox, and mostly MOBAs or just random stuff on the computer. Whatever's on sale on Steam, basically. So it was kind of different going back to the Nintendo with the JRPG, I guess you could call the Pokemon as a JRPG. And I really enjoyed it. It changed the aspect of my game playing for a few months, and it really helped me broaden my horizons with the games. So that's kind of why I got it. And then so the bad part about this Switch is the quality at which the games ran on the Switch Lite. Now, I ran into the problem a lot with the Switch Lite not stuttering, dropping frames. You really notice it you don't notice in Breath of the Wild, but you notice it in Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening, which is probably a game that shouldn't be dropping frames because it's such a low-end game. They did redo the graphics, but why is it dropping frames? I don't know. That's just... I'm not going to say any more about that. Now my view from a past Nintendo owner. So when I bought the Switch, I had owned a DS Lite, a Nintendo Game Boy Advance SP, a GameCube, a Wii, and I just recently started playing on Xbox, just because that's not something we were really into as kids. So coming from that aspect, it's quite nice to be able to play the same games or the same franchises that I used to play as a kid on a handheld system that I can take with me to work. If I'm going to a coffee shop and I have a little bit of time to kill before I go to my class or something. It's quite enjoyable. It's a lot easier having that than it was having a gaming laptop where you had to set everything up. It only had a 2-hour battery. You had to plug it in. You had to have a backpack to lug it around. Just that aspect of things. The games that I've played on it are Pokemon Sword and Shield, Moonlighter, Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening, I Am Setsuna, Breath of the Wild. I didn't really get into Dark Souls 1 that much. And then Tales of Vesperia and Kill la Kill If, which I haven't played yet. So those are the only games that I've really played on it. I'm probably going to get into Super Mario World eventually. So that's where I'm coming from. The favorite game that I had on that, though, was Moonlighter. It kind of filled that void. I could spend 15 minutes in a dungeon. I could spend an hour setting everything up, selling things, buying things, doing this, doing that. That was like my favorite game, and I was really excited that it actually went on sale like a week after I got the Switch. And I spent a lot of time playing that. Pokemon was alright. It just seemed lacking. I actually said to my coworker, it kind of feels like they're going to release a expansion pack for this here in the next few weeks, and then they released an expansion pack what do they call? What did they call them? DLCs, which had the rest of the Pokemon, and then the Pokemon that they did have in there. That's for a different time. Now the controller itself, the buttons felt great. The D-pad, it moves around a little bit, but it's acceptable, you know. It's not Nintendo quality, but it stacks up to everything else on the market right now. The joysticks, they're a little short for me, just because like the movements are kind of weird on them. I don't know. They're just different from the Elite controller that I played all my other games with ever since I got that. So going from that, the screen kind of small, the triggers and bumpers perfect. Another thing that I find wrong with it though is really just the battery life. Like if I want to play it and it's been in my bag, you know, say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I'm like, oh, I got a little bit of time, I can break out my Switch and play a little while. Well, it's most likely gonna be dead if you played it all the days prior. And then that kind of ruins it for me, because then you got to play with it plugged in, and then the plug is on the bottom, so it's hard to hold. It's a whole thing. That's basically the only thing I found wrong with it, and that was playing, you know, Breath of the Wild or Pokemon, that I really found that wrong. Any of the other low power games, it's not really a big deal. So who I think should buy this? Well, anyone that has a kid, it's a good option. Anyone that has another Switch, I wouldn't recommend it. Anyone that hasn't ever had a Switch, it's definitely a good buy for them, just because it's $200 and it lets you get into that world of Nintendo gaming in the modern times. Now, is it better than any of the other consoles? No. But none of the other manufacturers of consoles really have a handheld only anymore. You know, the Vita's gone. Xbox, I guess they got their game streaming, but I'm not going to consider that a handheld console. So, for what it is, you get a lot of bang for buck. Alright, I'm going to leave it at that. This review is getting a little long. So, thanks for watching. There'll be another video out sometime next week of a watch restoration and some other stuff to go along with it. So, thank you for watching, and subscribe if you liked it. Don't if you didn't. And yeah, thanks for watching.